Yeah, I ain't done with this man yet. Marty, what have you done? What did you do, Marty? Went out there and made a comment. One comment. And people already divided on that.
Why are you making comments?
Why are you making comments? And he's like, look at me.
Whoa, wait a minute. No. Hey, wait, that's just my opinion. Hey, whoa.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Hey.
Calm down, take a breath, or we're at war again.
No. There's a guy in my trunk.
Delightful.
Some people ready to let you have your opinion, the opinion being that you've heard over and over again that Marvel movies, he's tried to enjoy them, he just couldn't, and he doesn't consider them to be real cinema. They're theme park rides. Oh, these people out here, Marvel's big. Marvel had people crying about that Endgame. We still hurt. We still in our feelings and emotions. Don't you come talking about Marvel like that? So people got divided. Shit got divided here. I said, fuck him, Martin. Like, why? Some people say, fuck him like me, and people like you say, hey, man, look, you don't know what he really said. Who you weren't there. That's imprinted.
I also said that to a point, he's got a point.
Yeah, I think he got a point, too. He can stick it right up his ass.
How are you so invested in superhero movies? You ain't making no money off of them.
Because you know what? Because it's fucking wrong. And it's you know what? Well, okay, let Marty have it. Marty, you're a genius. You make great films, but the people misquoted you perhaps. Let it go. They don't worry about it. Oh, but then Francis Ford Coppola had to step up.
Nah, I got nothing to say about this here.
He said, Martin Thomas and everybody else out there who think that he was misquoted or he wasn't hurt, let me actually say what he meant to say. Marvel films are bullshit. I said it yesterday, he went on some Daffy Duck shit. They're despicable. Suffering succotash.
Look at that. Who that called my name?
Yeah. He said, hey, let me say what he meant to say. No, they ain't real movies. And they're despicable. And that's when I was telling, and look, I talked about this yesterday. I talked about it this weekend with Christopher Herman. So you want to hear me repeat some things, but I'm going to talk about it in another context. I just said, man, there's a lot of despicable things out there. Murder, rape, pedophilia.
Yeah.
The movie Jack.
Yeah, the movie Jack. That's a harsh word to use for that. And so, I listening to what he said, it's gotten bigger now. These dudes have because now, now that we got Martin Scorsese saying his take on Marvel movies, and now that Mr. Coppola done jumped in and just flat out just said, yeah, f those movies, I don't like them. Now every artiste wants to come out and jump on the bandwagon and talk about how these movies ain't real. Now, as somebody who goes to see a lot of movies, I got a problem with that, and I got a problem with the people who want to walk around this shit and be respectful and not cause any waves, man. Let's all get along. I'll all that, man. But I'm gonna tell you, I want to address it, but the reason why because I was about to let it go too, until two things happened. One, people start jumping out there and giving their opinions on how they also think that these movies aren't real cinema. So now it's a thing. But the other thing that made me feel this way is I went and I watched the premiere episode of Watchmen on HBO.
Yeah.
And when I watched that, I was like, something? Yeah, it's got me even feeling a little more tender about this because I know that these people out here, and I'm willing to bet. Now, I'll give maybe Martin Scorsese a little leeway, but I know Francis Ford Coppola and people like him, it ain't just Marvel movies that they're looking at. They're looking at the comic book genre in general, as a whole, and thinking that they're above that. And so as I watch Watchmen, because now Watchmen's out, and now you got people like Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, and probably everybody out there like, oh shit, here we go. Another superhero thing out there. You already came in and infected the big screen like a virus, and now you want to come in and fuck up the small screen too. We just got there. I don't know. Francis Ford Coppola need to just sit back and shut the fuck up. He ain't made nothing in 20 years. He ain't made nothing, probably more, but he ain't made nothing in 20 years that anybody's heard about. Martin Scorsese at least making
he's
shit.
He's made wine.
Yeah. And he's doing enough whining for everybody out there.
See how I set you up?
Yeah,
there?
I know. Thank you. Bang! Oh, shit. Dang! All of it. Brick, and they lose. Now they're starting to. Now the comic book properties are starting to take over the small screen too. That's the only place that we really have to get like fully legitimate movies from people who make legit films. And now you're doing this, HBO. Why are you doing this? Well, because it's now just something more to piss these people off out there. Well, listen, there's definitely a lot of fluffy and a lot of basic comic book properties out there on TV. There's no shortage of
No shortage of that.
You got, and most of them on CW.
Yeah, turn CW. There you go.
Yeah, you want to piss off Scorsese and Coppola, make those motherfuckers watch CW for about 2 hours.
Yeah, you're like, you're wrong. Here, I'm going to show you something. Watch Arrow and then tell me that they're theme park rides and despicable. And after 15 minutes, you're like, all right, okay.
Yeah,
I can see the point.
Yeah, Francis Ford Coppola and Martin Scorsese looking at you like, and with the Watchmen though, our Watchmen. Like I said, while there's a lot of typical fluffy and very basic superhero stuff on TV, they have properties out there that are now doing things that they can't even do in movies. And I'm talking about really good things. They're doing some deeper storytelling.
Yeah, a long form story.
The long form storytelling and not having to be hindered by a PG-13 rating, being able to go out there and actually tackle some very adult themes. You're getting a lot of deeper story, not just for a comic book movie, but for our show, but for any kind of property out there. And that's what a lot of people want Watchmen to be, the HBO Watchmen. Now, this is based on the 1986 graphic novel. It's actually a continuation of that. And the book that was made in 1986 by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. Man, Alan Moore is a writer who don't even want anything to do with shit after this. He's like, look, I wrote the perfect story right here that had a conclusion, say what I had to say. Y'all gonna take this and just rape the hell out of it. I don't want to be a part of that.
I'm gonna sit home, worship my snake.
Leave my name off of
Leave me, don't put my name in the credits. Send me a check. But no, he don't even want money.
Yeah, he won't even take the money.
No, he doesn't want anything. Now, that's a true artist right there. That guy had a vision, left it at that. Y'all want to take it and mess it up, that's fine. And because a lot of things that he does, he says, I don't even think that they're adaptable outside of the book form. Watchmen is not considered to be just a great comic. It's considered to be not just a great graphic novel. It's considered to be great literature. And Alan Moore, the writer, wrote it for that. And a lot of these things, because he wrote them for a literary format, he says they're not adaptable beyond that.
Right.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to have anything to do with that if you do that. And that's one of the things that people were split on with the movie, because the book was said to be unadaptable until Zack Snyder came out and he did
and proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt.
It was an attempt. He came in and tried to do a frame by frame adaptation of the book. Looking like, no, that was just unnecessary.
I know.
You're like, come on.
Yeah, do me like
They
that.
just had this window installed. Come on. Many praise the movie for getting a lot of things right, especially a lot of visuals. A lot of people even say that, you know what? You actually took something, even though it's considered to be one of the greatest literary books of all time, not just comic or graphic novel, but books of all time. That ending was stupid. And they say, you know what, they even gave this a better ending, one that made more sense. And others out there said, you know what, it was an amazing, noble attempt. Should have left the shit alone, but it was an attempt. And a lot of
It was indeed an attempt.
It was an attempt. but you should have just kind of left it there.
Yeah.
Like they told you.
Like they told you.
The man told you to leave it alone.
No, y'all gonna see what I'm gonna do though.
Yeah.
I know. I got it.
No, but
You
don't.
don't got it.
Check it out. Check it out.
And
check it
those
out.
people are the ones that are nervous about what is going on with HBO in this new Watchmen series. Because not only now is it's just not a movie, but it's a sequel. And we got enough of those today. And it's a sequel that's stretched out to 9 episodes. So that they're telling a longer story, and there's a lot of room that you can mess that up on. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer. And Martin saw it.
I saw it.
You didn't see it, so you're going to get education today.
Okay.
And we'll come back to
Denzel. Okay, Denzel.
You better get education today. I said that's like Jesus. I just channeled Denzel, man. I don't even mean to do that.
Oh, that's in the first 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. When we say we're doing a review of this, we're doing a review of the first episode, and this is not something you can binge unless they've already aired episodes. So we only have this one episode to go by, and just from the first episode, I can tell you that, yes, even though you watch the trailer and you say, well, everything's going to be filled in for me once I watch the show, it is fucking weird if you don't know the comic. If you don't know the comic. It's weird if you do know the comic.
Yeah, even knowing the comic.
Yeah, especially considering that in the comics, they got their own sequel going on.
Uh-huh.
It's like you're going to have to watch a lot of man if you want to keep up with what they're doing with the Watchmen property.
Yeah, because I'm already reading Doomsday Clock, which does feel like a real sequel to the original Watchmen. So I'm watching this show, and I'm going, okay, this takes place after. Does it take place after Doomsday Clock?
It has nothing to do with that. They're two separate things.
Okay, so they're not counting that at all.
No, you're not. No, the HBO is doing their own thing, and they're doing their own thing in the comics. They have their own sequel in the comics called Doomsday Clock, as Martin said. This, if you're a comic person and you're keeping up with that, get that out your mind. That has nothing to do with what the show is doing. Now, if you've seen the movie, it's a lot to cover right there. Or if you read the book, it's a lot to cover. A lot of things are happening. What I will tell you is that you have a lot of nods to the original. You have none of the original characters in there except maybe one, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you do have a lot of things that that reference
Stuff in the background.
Yeah, stuff in the background. As I said, this is 30 years after the sequences in the graphic novel, and you'll see certain things that you definitely recognize if you are a fan of the comic or even a fan of the movie. For one, you'll see things in there such as you see tech from the book, like Night Owl's aircraft in there. There's a whole movement that's happened after one of the most popular characters from the book, Rorschach, this group of white nationalists called the 7th Cavalry. And those things make sense if you, again, have read the book or if you've seen the movie. But then the shit gets weirder, and you'll get things that you don't know what's going on. Like, it's a reference that you might get, but you don't know why, like squids.
Oh, well, that one's easy enough to figure out if you've read the book.
If you've read the book, but you don't know why it's happening right here. Like, why it's raining squids from the sky.
I mean, I don't know how much you want to talk about that.
Well, I mean, I know what happened in the book, but why is it continuing?
I would just think it would be just a byproduct of that.
Yeah. Is it a byproduct, or is it something else that is going on that plays a bigger part of the story? I have a feeling that there are a lot of people going to be watching this, and then their girlfriend's going to turn to them, and they're going to say, all right, you read the book. Why are the squids falling from the sky? You're going to be like, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Wait, were you bugging my house yesterday?
See?
That had the exact same experience.
It was like, shit, I don't know. I mean, I didn't read.
I was like, okay, pause. This is what happened in the book, and I'm only assuming this is a part of that, but I can't tell you for sure.
Yeah, all I can do is tell you that if you read the book, it does make a reference to another squid incident in the book. I won't spoil for you why, but it's an infamous scene in the comic, and it's a bad idea that, hey, listen, it's one to let you know that, yes, this is definitely a direct continuation of the book, not the movie.
Right.
And also, it's another thing where it's, okay, even though you know what's happened in the book, and this is a nod to it, do you really know what's happening with it? I mean, it's just, we don't know why. We don't know why the squid's falling from the sky. We don't know why they turn into water once they hit, why they liquefy. We don't know what's going on with that. We can assume, but there's no definite answer for that.
The only thing we know for sure is that it is super gross.
Yeah. Even the characters are like, damn, this shit stinks. Yeah, it's sushi falling from the sky. Things don't happen. There's a lot of, when we talk about that, you saw what we just mentioned here. There's a lot of nods to the original. But what I appreciate about this, and I don't know if you see it the same way I do, this is how you do a nod. This is how you do a throwback. This is how, even if you want to call it fan service, that's how you do it. Because it ain't just straight fan service. It ain't just like, hey, remember this shit? No, it's something that happens to where you recognize it, but just not for the sake of being proud of yourself for saying that's what's in the book. You're proud of it because, man, they're using this to set up this world.
Yeah.
They're using this to do a lot of world building. That's a popular term right now.
There's a lot of world building in this first episode.
They're doing it to set up story.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, man. So this works for both fans and new people who are in there, because not everybody's going to know everything. One of the characters that we said is returning. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's him, but you have Jeremy Irons as Ozymandias.
Right.
Or is
Adrian Veidt. I know. They didn't actually say it's him. I'm almost sure it is.
Yeah, there's the character of Ozymandias right there. Ozymandias is a character who's smartest guy in the world. Adrian Veidt, who concocted a plan to try to save the world, and played a big role in the graphic novel. Now, it's 30 years later, so we're getting a version of this character that we don't know.
Uh-huh.
It could be him. It might not be him. Definitely looks like an older version of the character in the movie too.
Right.
Who played him in the movie?
Matthew Good.
Yeah,
Matthew Good.
Yeah.
Pretty ass. Look at him. Look at him. He's looking in a mirror right now. God damn. Is that me? With his story, it's just as much a mystery as it is to anybody else. Even if you think you know who that character is, you don't know. There's so many connections with the book in a certain way where they do their own thing, yet it ties to the book somehow. The book opened up with the murder, and somebody's investigating that. This opens up with an attempted murder, and somebody is going on an investigation of that. It's kind of it's always a throwback, always does a respectful nod to the original, but I'm amazed at how they're able to do their own thing with this.
They are able to do their own thing so much that the movie opens with a historical event that a lot of people don't know about, but you're like, everybody hit the internet to look this up to see if it was real. And it was, and it's so well done, but it's so not anything from the comics that you sit there going, am I watching the right show?
You know what?
Is this Watchmen?
And what they do is the movie opens up, and again, it does its own thing, but it's still connected to the tone of the original. Mm-hmm. The original is a revisionist history. Yeah. You know, it's an alternate universe. Nixon is still president. You hear about what's his name? Mr. Sundance.
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford is, one day he might run, and he actually is president.
Yeah, he's president.
But they do a lot of references to historical moments like Vietnam in the graphic novel. Yeah. This, so that it can kind of tackle issues of the day, it opens up with the Tulsa Riots, which was really a fucking massacre back in 1921. And it goes in and tackles that as its own, and this is not revisionist history, by the way.
Right.
But a lot of people looking at this and they're like, God damn, I walked in this and got an education too.
Right.
That was a massacre.
Yeah. I didn't know they did them black folks like that.
I wasn't expecting this because I was thought, all right, I'll get home, I'll let my wife do what she's going to do, and I'll just go watch it by myself. But seeing how it opened, I was like, I'm going to sit her down for this. This will be enough to hook her into it.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing the way that they are handling this, man. In the show, we have Regina King, who plays Angela Abram.
And that Regina King never stops working.
And she's amazing.
Never does.
Yeah.
And it paid off, too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Look, and she
got that Oscar.
Yep.
Yeah.
She sure did.
She's always got a show going.
Yeah. That's her. Look, that's her at the Warner Brothers office, putting her feet up on the table and shit.
Yeah.
What you got for me?
Yeah, what you got for me? And I ain't taking this mask off. So whatever it is.
I'm about to make out like a bandit in this motherfucker.
Whatever it is, but work with this.
In the movie, she's married to Yahya Abdul Mateen the third. Y'all just call
Black
him
Manta.
Manta. Yeah, just call him Black Mantis because that brother need to change his name. That's just too long. I'm sorry.
We already had to deal with Mr. Echo and
Yeah.
Adebisi.
Yeah, exactly. But that's another one of my favorite actors coming
yeah.
up. But there's other weird things in the book that in the show that they don't explain. Him and Angela King's character, they have kids. Both meanwhile, they are both kind of dark black. They ain't got no black kids.
They're white.
They're white.
They're all white.
They're white as snow.
One might be.
Maybe could be Hispanic or
We don't know.
Yeah, or no.
But
racially ambiguous.
All of them kids, either they are white or racially ambiguous, and it's like, where they steal these kids from?
Right.
Or where they buy these kids from? They don't explain. And they always show you families with kids of another race.
Yeah.
I saw like an Asian couple with white kids.
Well, that's it. I mean, another big shocker is every movie you see takes place in New York or California or Chicago, maybe Miami, maybe Louisiana. That's about it. Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Ain't shit done in Tulsa, Oklahoma except Westerns.
and race riots, which is why I think they set that there because the jumping off point was that piece of history.
Right.
It's a lot of foreshadowing that's going on in this. Just weird things pop up, man. Just weird shit pops up and I'm saying it's weird and things are crazy because they are setting up things that you don't know, and I love it. Shit, you try to get into your own store and Louis Gossett Jr. out there just talking crazy.
You think I can lift 200 pounds?
Like, I don't know. You can lift your black ass on out of here before I call the police again. Every day you ask me crazy ass questions. By the way, I love that. I don't know what he's doing, but he's just like every black dude that's hanging out in front of the liquor store or the corner store and shit. Talking crazy.
That's
shit.
not even this character. That's just him on lunch break.
That's
He's talking to Regina King.
That's just him.
That's him talking to Regina King.
Hey girl, come help me zip up my pants.
Yeah.
You don't go. You don't get out of here. I swear to God, I ain't called police yet, but I'm going to.
Yeah, well, at least tie my sweater up.
You look,
Come on,
you ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. If you wanted to, you would have done it already. You want this shit. What you got to keep in mind is that the showrunner here is David Lindelof.
Damon.
Damon Lindelof. He, that's the guy behind Lost.
Yeah, and The Leftovers.
Yeah, which everything with him, he loves playing with time travel.
Yeah.
He loves playing with doing things out of sequence.
Yeah.
He loves doing things, playing with other dimensions.
Yeah. And giving you characters that you think are one thing and then you find out there's something else.
Find out there's something else.
He clearly loves ensemble casts.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, girl, I really am a pimp. If you're familiar with Lost, then you kind of get the tone of what they're doing here. I just hope the shit don't suck when it ends.
I know.
Again, going back to what you were saying with the incident at Tulsa, the Tulsa Riots of 1921. One of the great things about the comic is that it took the superhero myth and re-examined it, and all the mythology, and that's really was they put a little history in there, but that was really a big part of the comic. Now with this is I think one of the advantages that this has actually, and I know a lot of people think it's sacrilege to say that, but one of the big things I think it has over the comic is that, and if down the line this might be a bad thing for the show, but it is very relevant to what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, when they opened up with the Tulsa race riots with this. I mean, it's like the show sat, right when you go into the show, show sits you down and says, now let's talk some real shit.
Right.
All this superhero stuff. Let's talk about what's going on right now. Let's talk about
How we
politics
got here.
and where we are today. And let's use as often as it is done with genre stuff. A lot of people really put down genre stuff because they don't, somehow they just take it for face value. A lot of genre stuff is an allegory for what's happening at the time.
Right.
And like a lot of that great material out there, this does the same thing. From the moment it sits down, it's going to tell you, like, it's letting you know, we want to address one of the biggest issues that's happening right now that everybody don't want to talk about. Unless they're online calling somebody nigga or spick or something like, unless they cussing out somebody or going head to head, let's have an honest, frank discussion. Crazy thing for a fantasy show. Let's talk about some real shit like racism and tackle it head on.
Yeah.
From there, we actually do follow that. We logistically do follow what's happened in the comics. It makes sense to where it goes. That whole thing. If you know the character of Rorschach in the comic, you know that he was a very conservative character. He had very conservative values. Nobody really thought he was a racist. Maybe he was. Nobody. He actually did. He melted a black dude. So.
If they'd had Twitter in 1986, he'd have got on there and said something that would have
every day. They would have found his ass out quick. But it logistically makes sense where that character left off, because he probably left some manifesto somewhere with his conservative views. And today, what do we see when that happens? We see now these white supremacist groups, these fringe groups, these white nationalists, these ultra conservative groups. They take it and they run with it, and that's what we get in the show, the 7th Calgary. And it feels like it's his own thing, but it feels like a natural progression of what that character is. They all wear his mask, the Rorschach mask and everything. It doesn't move cool like his mask does. But what do you want from a bunch of white trash hillbillies, man?
They all eating too much.
Yeah, they all got that beer gut.
Yeah.
Wearing that plaid and shit,
And that is what happens. Yeah, somebody who's a figure like Rorschach would die, and then whatever he wrote would get perverted to the point to where if he came back, he'd be like, okay, one, I got to stop because I can't have this happening.
Yeah.
But first I got to get rid of all of you guys first.
Yeah. And you know what?
And this is not what the fuck I was talking about.
Not at all. No. Damn, y'all got this all wrong.
Oh, damn.
That's where this comes in as being something that's one of the boldest shows probably one of the boldest shows on television. Because there ain't no show out there tackling the issue of racism on this level like this show is. Where this show just comes out and is, again, very straightforward in your fucking face saying, no, these are not criminals. No, these are not mentally ill people. They're fucking terrorists.
Then on the other side of them is the police, who are militarized to all the fucking way out. I mean, they're in mass. They're just short of being Nazis the way they are, and you see how much control they have.
Yeah.
So that's like you got Nazis on one side and fascists on the other, and all the citizens are kind of squeezed in between. Like you as a viewer, you're kind of like, I'm not 100% sure who I'm supposed to root for here.
And I saw that. I did, because the cops, you don't even get to see the face, and the cops are all colors, by the way. I even think that most of the cops are actually black people in this.
Yeah.
But I think they are also trying to challenge you on the liberal side too. While we have all these police shootings that are going on, and you have the issue of gun control or gun laws that need to be in place, they're also putting it out there and saying, okay, so what if some of those things were in place? I think this is where the show's trying to challenge everybody. There's a scene where, you have the cops who, they show you that they have to have permission to get their guns unlocked before they can use them. And there's a confrontation with one of these white nationalists, one of these racist guys, and it wasn't stopped because the cop wasn't able to get his gun in time. So, how far are we willing to go with gun control? Again, if it's not you, listen, you don't have to agree with that. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying right here, but I think that the show is presenting that out there. It's not trying to give an answer. It's just saying, hey, what if? All these serious plot lines and devices and the way that they're tackling social issues in this show, you got to keep in mind they're doing this while people are dressed up in stupid ass costumes. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's kind of part of what it is. It's like, man, people ain't gonna look badass in costumes. They try to wear it in real life. You're gonna look stupid as f. They even got one guy at the police precinct who dresses. He looks like a shitty high school mascot.
Yeah.
I
wonder what his deal is. Is it like, being a furry is a protected class?
Yeah. I think he just wants to be like everybody else and can't afford a real costume. Plus his ass ain't gonna do nothing. He's out there a little overweight. He ain't out there on the streets doing shit. He's got a desk job. Yeah, he's working dispatch.
Plus it's cold in there.
I mean, that shit ain't even clean.
No, dirty as hell.
I think it's kind of cool that, look, these costumes look bad because you see these guys sitting in there with these militarized legit police officers, and they got on really bad costumes. They got on those costumes where they look like those people from a long time ago who want to be real heroes, real superheroes, but since they couldn't fight, they just gave sandwiches to the homeless.
Yeah. Phoenix Jones and his
everybody's trying to follow Phoenix Jones can really fight. He's the closest thing we got to like Batman right now. But all these other people went out there and tried to do that shit and got scared and just said, I'll just feed the homeless. Yeah. You see how these costume heroes are mixed in with everybody else, and they look stupid. They're badass when they fight, but they look stupid. Except for, I would say the one that looks cool is Regina King.
Yeah.
Regina King in her costume, man, she's actually kind of badass. She's a cross between Batman and a nun.
Right.
You know,
She's like, you goddamn right.
Yeah.
Look at her.
I'm the hero up in here. And look, the book, I'm not trying to go in, diminish the book in any kind of way. I'm just saying that there's a lot of things that the book did on a very fantastical level. And that, you know, and that's how you saw it. You know, it was everything was kind of above us. We didn't really live in this world. It was almost science fiction for us. And I mean, well, it was science fiction, but it didn't feel like a science. It felt like a comic book world still. I think with this, you start to see these people as real human beings, and you don't get that from the book. These are real people that we feel like we can really actually hang around with, eat dinner with. In fact, we do eat dinner with them. Regina King and Don Johnson. I almost said Don King. Regina King and Don Johnson. They actually have a great back and forth together.
They do.
And Don Johnson's great in this.
He is. It's a really good return for him.
And you talk about these people feeling real. There's a moment where they all have dinner, and Don Johnson, there's a moment where they feel like real folks because they just want him to sing. I mean, he's played this kind of gruff, badass sheriff, and then he just sits back eating dinner with people, gets a little tipsy, a little cocaine up in the nose, and they ask him to sing, and he does it, and it's really a sweet moment in the show.
Don't put your hand in mine. We're in love.
Oh, okay.
I forgot he had a hit song back in the 80s.
Yeah, man, I thought, man, he was so into that. I thought he was gonna pull out one of them Don Johnson classics, man.
Looking at me.
Oh shit! All right, Don. Okay, all right. We get the point. It's fun. No, wait, I got more. Don, it's all right, man. All right, sit down, man.
But you do me wrong.
Damn,
I forgot he had that shit.
He was like, he's doing cocaine again. Looking for a heartbeat. It actually helps if the music is good, though.
The guy singing, doing that move right there with the pumping the arm.
Oh, they always got that move where they went to the mic too much.
Yeah. So they gotta go next to the guitar player.
Yeah.
Back at him. Yeah.
Like, I'm the one playing. What are you doing?
It's very hard to deny that this has shown a lot of promise, and it's a very impressive. It's a great premiere. I mean,
I love all the things in it. I think it's a show. Like when Billy, you said people raving to you, I say slow down because I do think you'll like it. You'll be intrigued by it if nothing else. But I could also see somebody coming in going like, man, it's just too much for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's definitely not. This is a an overused expression. It's not for everybody. But when I say that, there's some shows that you can walk into, and even if it's something that's science fiction or superheroes or whatnot, it's kind of easy to get into. This is not easy to get into. I would tell you that now. It feels believable. You can live in it, but there's a lot of things that you still have to catch up with. And if you're not patient, then then it's not for you. And I'm gonna tell you, man, the thing that really impressed me with this, it's different in tone, but again, it's right up there with another show that I loved as far as being a superhero property.
The point is, we need each other. We're in the woman. Jesus, he gives the worst pep talks.
It's more of a comedy, as you can see, but if you watch The Boys on Amazon Prime Video, it's some really deep storytelling in there that also makes a commentary on our world.
Yeah,
and a different
celebrity
way.
worship and commercialism.
Yep. And it's very deep storytelling in the superhero genre, and that's what I'm putting this up here with. I mean, I can't give it a full rating for the whole series because we haven't seen it. But as far as an episode goes and a debut, I'd definitely give this a full price. From what I've seen, I can't wait to continue watching this. Now I hope it don't go off like Lost and gets crazy, and I hope it definitely doesn't get like Westworld. Yeah, where it gets kind of insane. But I really am loving what I see here, man. I did not expect them to be able to do so well.
The biggest thing about it is the mystery. I want to know more about what's going on, and it's enjoyable to have a show where I don't walk in knowing everything.
Yeah,
where I'm having to unlock it as it goes.
Yeah,
and just might go back and rewatch just to get to bone up on this episode before the next one comes back out. I give it full price. A low full price. Yeah. I mean, there's still that let's see where it goes after this, because there's still plenty of room to go off the rails.
You got that right. I mean, I'm prepared. I'm just talking about this episode.
Yeah,
you know,
I've seen a lot of shows have great first episodes.
Yep.
And then just kind of start to peter out. And I've seen some have not so good first episodes, and then find their footing halfway through the season.
Yep. Hey, they up. We'll tell you. Believe you me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching the whole video. And you know what? You've done a lot for me, but if I can ask you one more thing, can you hit the subscribe button? You're not going anywhere. You like us that much. Get notifications. And since you're not going anywhere, join us on our main site, doubletoasted.com. Over there, you'll find the long version of this video, along with many others, uncensored, unedited, and also the live streams that we do almost every night of the week. Support us at dpmerch.com. That's our store. And also, don't forget, stay